What's going guys, Zennosh here, and today in this video of Exos Heroes, let's review Bathory. Let's review her stats, let's review her skills, and let's try to discuss how good she is in this game called Exos Heroes. First of all, let's look into her stats. Alright, at the level of 75, her HP is going to be 4308. That is pretty alright. Attack is 1302. That is a lot. I mean, like, she actually boasts to have the highest attack in the game, if I'm not wrong, okay? Please do correct me. And that is actually going to be quite helpful for her Tranquil effect, which we are going to talk a little bit later. And minimum attack being 1173 and the maximum attack being 1431. Alright, defense is going to be 675, which is pretty alright. That's pretty average. Hit is going to be 90, dodge being 100, critical hit being 115. That is pretty impressive. Well, it will be quite easier to deal some really good critical hit attacks with her. Block is going to be 30, not really that good. Attack speed going to be 56. Really below average, really below average. Well, actually it does make a lot of sense because her attack being one of the highest out there, I mean like the highest out there, her attack speed being a little bit low, I think it's pretty justifiable. Anyways, critical damage is going to be 150%, that's pretty good, and block defense rate 50%, luck 0. Anyways, looking into this basic interface, her attack stat is the one that actually makes a very good dramatic appearance right over here, guys. 1302. Wow, that's the highest attack stat in the entire game. Okay, now let's look into her skills, but first let's get into her, the skill preview section right over here, and we can pretty much start discussing about her all of her skills right over here. First of all, this is obviously going to her basic attack, just one single target attack right over there, nothing special right over there. And her first skill is known as the Miss Tell-10. Wow, what type of name is that? Anyways, it's an active skill. It only requires 1 mana and deals 102% damage to all enemies. Looks very, like normal, guys. And definitely, this is not a type of skill that you would really want to spam in the PvP contents. Well, it does help you guys in the PVE contents, or let's say in the story contents, to clear the mob really fast, but definitely not the skill that you would want to spam in the PvP contents, because if you spam this in the PvP content against the first guardian units, or let's say the dragon, emperor, knight heroes, then you are definitely asking for a annihilation. All right, so don't do it. It's not really that cool. The next thing is going to be her active skill number 2. That's gonna be Niflheim. All right, now this makes a lot of sense. Required mana is gonna be 5. Wow, that's a lot of mana that she's going to require in order to push up with this really amazing skill, which is a burst damage. All right, so right over here it says it deals damage to all enemies and deals 357% damage to all enemies. Wow, that's really cool. Considering this as a burst damage, what's going to happen is that she is even going to use any kind of excess mana she has in order to improve her damage output. Meaning, if she is at 6 star, right, that means like she can store up to 10 mana, all right. And in that case, instead of just using 5 mana, which is pretty much the basic mana cost in order to unleash this skill, at that time she's just going to use all those 10 mana if she has, and she is going to improve her damage output drastically, which can pretty much really annihilate the entire opponent team. And due to this effect right over here, she still has a very good hand even in the PvP contents. All right, thanks to her passive skills, she can pretty much build up on mana really fast, especially when the battle starts to stretch out. Alright, anyways, let's look into it right over here. It says mana utilization 3, her passive skill. Increases attack based on allies' mana count. Alright, yes, there we go. Meaning like if the allies have more mana count, that means her damage is actually going to keep on increasing. And guess what, guys? Looking into her burst damage and her mana count damage up, I mean like she is really capable of doing some really insane amount of damage. So please do keep that in mind, especially in the late game contents where your team as well as the opponent teams start to become really good at storing a lot of mana. In that case, guys, she actually is going to gain a lot of mana pretty fast, and also at the same time being able to deal a lot of damage. Gains mana, 1 mana, if alloy's mana count is at 10 or more on turn. So you can pretty much keep that thing on your mind as well if you really want to build up on her best skill as soon as possible, so that you can pretty much wipe out entire opponent team. So be careful about that one, guys. If you really think that you can pretty much save up your mana, please do so if you have Bathory around, okay? Because with the help of like excess mana count on your team, meaning like more than 10 mana on your team, that would be really great for her to gain one additional mana. Gain mana, 1 mana, if enemy's mana count is at 10 or more on turn. The so same goes with the enemy as well. So just think about it. In certain situation where the ally's mana count is at 10 or more, and also at the same time the enemy's mana count is at 10 or more, she is gonna gain tremendous amount of mana very fast, guys. She can really proceed with her burst damage without any problem at all, and that's what makes her very powerful and very lethal. All right, and there are so many instances where she is pretty cool, pretty good at even annihilating the first guardian units if she actually get the chance. Okay, so there we go. If all things are set up pretty nicely, she can pretty much annihilate anything that comes through her way. Now, next thing is gonna be the Breath of Mana, which I really do love the most. Overtime effect, it says. It's a permanent stuff going on around it, as long as he's alive in the team. Front row allies permanently gain +1 mana. That is gonna be so cool, guys. Well, in the PvE contents, whatever, you are always going to gain that +1 mana for any kind of units out there. But when it comes to the PvP contents, well, obviously you are pretty much limited to only the support and the defensive type of units who can pretty much be placed on the front row, right? So that can be a little bit problematic right over there, because you would definitely want to have excess mana for your attacking units, like let's say chaotic or the offensive type of units, right? But anyways, there are some support units who can pretty much excel with this thing going on around, like let's say Talia, who can pretty much keep on spamming her fast skill with that really good heal, as long as she has 1 mana all the time. And in that case, Bathory is definitely going to help her out. Okay, so that is pretty great, isn't it? And having a +1 mana to start with, to begin with, right off the bat, it definitely gives you a little bit of like extra advantage against your opponents, because it will be easier for you guys to build up on your mana really fast. And well, guys, this game is all about mana. As long as you have mana, you can keep on spamming your skill all day and night, and that is what I really love about her, guys. The next thing is going to be the Tranquil effect. Grants allies with less attack than self with the Tranquil mark and protects from death 1 time. Now that is super cool, guys. Meaning like, this is the reason why she has the highest attack in the entire game, and that actually makes a lot of sense. Meaning like, it will be easy for you guys to keep her attack stat on a very high level without any problem at all, without even having to make a lot of effort in giving her the best gears out there. Yes, guys, even when I equip her with very low grade type of gears, she still keep on, like maintaining that very high attack stat among all those allies out there. So that is what really good about her. Okay, I really like that part here. So that means it will be much easier for her to always keep on providing that Tranquil mark for all the allies in your team, unless you overhype or let's say overbuild your character, like let's say Baraka or let's say Rera. Okay, that might be a different condition. But anyways, looking into a normal case scenario, she is definitely going to have the highest attack in the entire team almost all the time with the proper build up or with the proper setup. So it's not a really that big deal. And guess what, guys? The Tranquil mark will actually, go away when a character actually takes a fatal strike. But, for that Tranquil mark, the character who was supposed to be dead will actually stick to about 5 to 10% of their max HP, alright? And in that case, they will just survive, they will not die, but the Tranquil mark effect will be gone. Okay? In exchange of the Tranquil mark, they are actually gonna, stay alive for that one fatal strike. So that is that. But well, there are so many units out there who can pretty much synergize with the Tranquil mark effect. Like let's say that would be Rera or Fate Core Rera, who definitely is storming out in the PvE as well as the PvP content of this game, thanks to Bathory being around, right? And like let's say Ulum or Fatecore Ulum, who is always going to have a very good time in breaking the Guardian Stone of the opponents, regardless of the element mismatching of the Guardian elements. Okay, so that is really cool out there as well. She has really good synergy even with the rats. Oh yes, the Underwalker, Gravedigger, or something like that. Anyways, those kind of rats, the one-star rat, or let's say the common grade type of rats, they will be able to break the 3 Guardian Stones of the opponent as long as they have the Tranquil Mark effect on them, and it's too easy to break the Guardian Stones, guys, and which is definitely going to be quite helpful for the core raids and many other contents in the game, even in the PvP content. If you really want to break the Guardian Stone of the opponents, especially if you have Ulum in your team, like let's say if you have Fatecore Ulum, right? And in that case, she can pretty much break the Guardian Stone of all the opponents with her second skill strike, because it has a AoE attack right over there, and she breaks 3 Guardian Stones at a single strike. And that is what actually is being made possible with the Tranquil Mark effect, with the Bathory being around. And this is also the reason why in this game, in the current PvP situation, Bathory is someone who you really don't want to face the battle against, because she definitely will provide that one turn immortality, and that is going to be really problematic. And if they, like if the opponent has really good type of healer, like let's say Fatecore Anastasia, they can pretty much come back to their original health really fast. Especially for the unit like Fatecore Rera, she is actually gonna gain her 100% health back to back right away when the Tranquil Mark effect will be activated whenever she actually receives a fatal strike. And those are the things that are pretty much being rampant around this content of Exos heroes, which has now made Bathory a very god tier unit. Yes, she is really definitely a must-have unit, and for arena offense or whether it be the arena defense, she is definitely going to be a very good attacker thanks to the burst damage she has, and as well as a supportive unit as well thanks to the Tranquil Mark effect, which synergizes perfectly with Fatecore Rera, Fatecore Ulum, and even the underwater, like Underwalker rats, like those kind of common type of hero units. Okay, so saying all those kind of things is definitely damn awesome and definitely good to have in your team. If you are asking me to rate like how good she is for the PvE contents like story mode and many other like boss battles, I would definitely say 9/10 or even 9.5/10. Alright, because this Tranquil Mark effect is just too good, and being able to provide that permanent +1 mana gain to all the the allies on the front row is definitely helpful, guys. You can pretty much build a very good front row emphasized formation in order to utilize this breadth of mana in the optimal way in the PvE contents, because in the PvE contents you are not really restricted to what formation to support, or let's say the Guardian types of units, or let's say the tank type of units being only recruitable on the front row, and the chaotic and the offensive type of units being limited to the back row. Okay, not like the PvP contents. All right, but what about the PvP contents? Well, if you face the battle against her, you are pretty much going to have a little bit of fear in your heart. Why? Because of the Tranquil Mark effect. Okay, and guess what, guys? Especially if the opponent team has that first Guardian unit, OMG. In that case, it is actually quite problematic in that case as well, because in that situation, the first Guardian units will have a very good chance to stack up on their Dragon Blood stats, and in that case, they can pretty much retaliate really like fast and with a very great amount of damage, which can be quite fatal to our own team. So that is the problem right over there, guys. All right, and definitely even for the PvP defense teams is definitely going to be very helpful, guys, because of the Tranquil Mark effect right over there with the permanent +1 mana gain. Certain type of support units like Talia is definitely going to have easier time in providing that constant heal to a particular hero unit right out there in the team, or any kind of like support units out there, or let's say guardian type of units, or let's say those, like defensive type of units, to keep on spamming their skill as long as they can use their skill with just 1 mana cost, right? And that's going to be really cool, isn't it? So depending upon the situation, that's that. And you might be asking, what would be the proper way to, you know counter this Tranquil Mark effect? It would definitely be the Shofrakan. Yes, if you have Fate Core Shofrakan or Shofrakan in your team, definitely you would want to bring him on the PvP battles so that you can pretty much counter this girl right over here. Alright, I mean, like, he's a really good counter for the Tranquil Mark effect, because if the opponent's health is at somewhere very low percentage, he's, like, Shufraken is pretty much really gonna try to keep them down, okay? He's not gonna really let them stick up to that 5% or 10% HP at any cost. And even the other heroes that pretty much synergizes with Fate Core Shofraken or Shofraken, they are pretty much gonna cast that overtime damage effect to the opponents so that they will stay down. And those are the things right out there. Alright, so in the PvP contents, I would definitely love to give her like 9.5 over 10, because there are so many things going on around, which actually can be done with the Fate Core Bathory being around, especially if you have Fate Core Ulu and Fate Core Rera in your team. I mean, like, oh my god, those three women can really shake the battle, okay? It can really like induce the fear in the hearts of your opponent if you have those kind of teams, or let's say if you actually manage to fight, or let's say to encounter such team in the PvP content. I mean, like, definitely it's gonna be a nightmare to you guys. All right, that's pretty much confirmed. So that's pretty much it, guys, and definitely C is going to be a really great unit for the core raid, a must-have unit indeed. In the core raid, definitely C is going to have like a 10 over 10. All right, in the Holy Dragon Grounds, I mean, like, C might not be really that effective. I would just love to give about like 7.5 or 8 over 10 in the Holy Dragon Grounds. In that case, C is pretty much mainly for the support stuff, rather than dealing a lot of damage right over there. So that is that. Is there any other contents? Whereas in the story contents, I think I've already said that C is about like 9 or 9.5 over 10. C definitely is going to help you guys a lot. And again, lastly, for the PvP contents, definitely a 9 or 9.5 over 10. C is definitely that good, guys, and C is really the current meta right now, and C, I think, is always going to stay in the meta, guys. C is always in the tier 0, meaning like C is always in the SS tier. This is never gonna calm down, guys. That's the Bathory for you guys. Well, her Fate Core Bathory is also really great indeed, but I will try to cover up about that Fate Core Bathory in the next video. But for today, this is it for the Bathory right over here, guys. In the summary, guys, her burst damage is definitely amazing with her active skill number 2, which can really deal some insane amount of damage if she has 10 mana on her side. And guess what, guys, thanks to her passive skill, she can stack up on her mana really fast. And being a frost type of unit, she is definitely going to build up mana based on how many block strikes have been induced in the battle so far. Yes, if there are any blocks happening in the battle, she is definitely going to have +1 mana passively on her, thanks to the elemental effect right over there. Alright, so that is that. And with those kind of things being around, her Niflheim can pretty much one-shot all the opponents if she has 10 mana on her stash, okay? So don't underestimate that power. Fast skills definitely only for the PvE contents, not for the PvP contents. Never ever use it for the PvP modes, okay? So I'm not really in favor of her fast skill, and not really a great multiplier indeed as well, and it's not even a burst damage, but it's very cheap. That means you can pretty much spam it over and over again in the PvE contents, or let's say the story contents. So that's that, guys. And Breath of Mana is definitely awesome, especially for the PvE contents, where you can pretty much put any type of hero unit in the front row, and you can just go with the emphasized front row formation, which will definitely gonna help you to keep on spamming a skill all the freaking time. Just think about it, guys. Her first skill only requires 1 mana, so every freaking time when she's gonna get her turn, she's just gonna do that AoE attack all the time, and that is really definitely awesome, guys. All right, and finally the Tranquil effect, which is the must-have stuff going on around in the current content, which is going to allow Fatecore Ulum to break the Guardian Stone of the opponents, Fatecore Rera to deal amazing amount of massive damage to the opponents, and she is actually one of the best damage dealer out there thanks to Bathory being around. And for the late game contents, Fatecore Rera is a god tier thanks to Bathory being around, guys. And even the 1-star tier heroes like, let's say, Underwater Rats, they are going to be able to be very, very effective, especially in the core raids on breaking the Guardian Stone of the opponents, or let's say in the hero battles, thanks to the Bathory being around. Okay, so those are the utilities that the Bathory is going to provide on the table for right now, providing that one-turn immortality for the hero units. That is so super duper awesome and super duper cool, guys, and that can pretty much spell the disaster for the opponents, especially if you set up your team really nice in the PvP contents as well. And that is pretty much it, guys. This is it for today, guys. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button to keep enjoying the contents of my channel. See you guys in the next video. Definitely I'm gonna come with the another hero review. And ladies and gentlemen, that's it. See you guys in the next video.